Hey, what's up guys? Radyu here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. And today is going to be covering the top 5 most underrated decks going into the November 2020 format. Now, with Phantom Rage coming out, there has been a ton of new support for a ton of already good decks. Notably is Prank Kids and some slightly indirect support for Zodiacs. But I don't want to put Prank Kids in this list because it's been seeing a lot of competitive play and it's been seeing more and more like success. So it isn't very underrated at this point because people actually know how good it is. So it Prank Kids won't show up on this list. That was just a quick disclaimer. Without further ado, let's jump right into the deck or the video. Starting things off at my number 5 spot is Raid Raptors. Now, Raid Raptors has already been a really good deck, but it hasn't been seeing a ton of competitive play. The thing about Raid Raptors is that it has one of the strongest boss monsters in the game, known as Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. It's unaffected by all card effects, and if it has a Raid Raptor monster on it as material, you can detach a material and then all your opponent's monsters lose 800 attack. Now the thing about Raid Raptors is that it's based around summoning a rank 4 Xyz monster and then ranking it up. So what you do is you go into any of your rank 4s, and when you rank it up, you'll get more and more material, so that way you can continuously use Ultimate Falcon's ability, as well as the fact that right under it is Satellite Cannon Falcon, which can destroy all your opponent's spell or trap cards when it's summoned, which is a really powerful effect. So on top of your opponent not having any spells or traps to negate your effects, you also will now have a huge monster that's unaffected by everything after you rank it up one more time, which is really powerful. And then with the support from Phantom Rage, being able to mix with Phantom Knights and Raid Raptors, you have more ways to mix those two decks together, and you have more ways of just directly helping Raid Raptors spam out rank 4 monsters. And that is why Raid Raptors get my number 5 spot. And coming in at number 4, we have a deck that's already saw a ton of competitive play over the years, and that is Salamandra. Now, Salamandra hasn't been seeing a ton of play recently. It's fallen more by the wayside in terms of competitive use, even though it's still a very popular deck and still a really fun deck to play. It's not really the best deck of the format, but people are ignoring the fact that even though it didn't get direct support in Phantom Rage, it's still a really, really good deck that could get indirect support later, or it might even get a few cards released off the ban list. And the thing about Salamandra that makes it so good is that it's so adaptable. After getting Mirage Stalio banned, after getting Salamangreat Circle limited, and after getting a ton of restrictions on the deck already, you have cards that help the deck just because it's so adaptable and it can change with the snap of a finger. And it's just a really good deck that just by getting any generic cyber support will get loads of help. And that's why Salamandra gets my number 4 spot. But coming in at number 3, we have a very underrated deck that has recently come into the light, and that is Zodiac. Now, with the support release of Phantom Rage, we got Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, which is a very powerful Xyz monster that works really, really well with Zodiac. And the thing about Zodiac is that it has cards that are 1 card starters, which means that you can almost always consistently go into multiple of your plays just with 1 card. And that means that you can set up disruptions, you can set up OT OTKs. You can set up almost anything because this deck is so powerful. This deck lacks inconsistency, and it's one of the most powerful decks ever, despite the fact that it's got so many cards on the ban list. So that is why Zodiac gets my number 3 spot. And coming in at number 2, we have a deck that has already seen a lot of competitive play, but in the recent format, it's not seeing as much, and that is Eldritch. Now, Eldritch is a super powerful deck. People are ignoring it because it doesn't set up the same kind of disruptions that Dragon Link can. And sure, that's true. But if you want to, go check out my Zombie World Eldritch deck, which can lock out your opponent in crazy ways. And it sets up so many good boards that, like, it's just a wonder why you aren't playing it already. The deck is so powerful, it's so versatile, and you have so many ways of getting disruptions, and any generic zombie support is going to help this deck grow exponentially. And even if you're playing a combo variant that can set up disruptions, you're still going to be able to go into your Zombie World cards and set up your combo plays from there, which is really powerful, and that is why Eldritch gets my number 2 spot. And coming in at number 1, to me, not the best deck, but definitely the most underrated, Numeron Control. Now, Numeron Control is very powerful, setting up a Utopic Zexal, but the thing is that it's not really played anymore, except for in one deck, and that is Guru Control. Guru Control is a very, very powerful deck. It has the ability to set up unbeatable monsters despite the fact that most of its monsters are fairly weak. It has the ability to play amazing floodgates like There Can Only Be One and Goes in Match, which means that you can lock out your opponent super easily with this deck, even if you're not playing the Numeron engine. And the thing is that even if your opponent negates your Numeron network or your Numeron calling, you can still effectively use it because you're able to set up your floodgates and realize that you can go into Utopic Zexal with one card, one Numeron wall, or one Numeron network, which means that you have 4 other cards in your hand that could be something like Hidden City or even a Guru, which means that you can effectively set up multiple negations, set up 3 floodgates, and set up an amazing 3,000 attack monster that to me is even better than True King of All Calamities. And that is why Numeron gets my number 1 spot. Now, Numeron might seem kind of weird to put it over Eldritch or even Salamandra, but the thing about Numeron that I really like is that it isn't tethered by Numeron. You don't need to play Numeron and Guru in order to control your opponent's board. And the fact that it's so versatile and it's so consistent with being able to get out its floodgates that it's just, to me, the best deck I've ever seen. But that's just my opinion, and if you guys have a different opinion, tell me down in the comments. Tell me what you think are the most underrated decks. Some honorable mentions are, of course, Prank Kids are seeing more play, but they're still kind of underrated. Another really, really good one is Altergeist. Altergeist used to be playing up there with Dragon Link, but now it's kind of fallen by rogue. Stuff like Sky Strikers, Gren Maju are all really good decks, despite the fact that they really haven't seen a ton of play. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and let me know if there's anything you would change about this list, and I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.